I don't know what, but oh yeah, she basically burned the eggs. She's like, your breakfast is in the microwave, like eggs burnt, bacon's basically burnt, and she just like, but like so I go in the other room and I'm like walking in there like, and I didn't realize how much tension there was. Right, there's still a little tension in there. I walk in there and I go, man, these eggs are burnt. Like maybe you should wake up a little bit earlier, cook some eggs instead. And I kind of sort of like, there's more said, and it was in a little bit gentler tone than that, but it doesn't make for as good a story. Um, and I walk in the other room and I'm like, I don't know how to like tell my wife that like anything, not anything, but because I was so far in the red for so long in the way like I was communicating, and she's just like, oh, I love him. He's just doing his thing. He'll come back to me in a minute, in a couple days, whatever. And now like slowly coming to this end, like where like it's essentially like, hey man, I would really appreciate if you didn't burn the eggs. Like I might even said it that way, to be honest with you. And she didn't say anything until later. She's like, I was on a work call when you told me that. That's like, oh, that's great. That's great. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I think you and I suffer from the same thing, right? And suffer, I'm just using that word, but
yeah,
I think you and I are the same in the sense that previously we would always try to get we a bit controlling, right? We think we know
yeah,
best. You got to do it this way. This is so I know for me and my wife, right? I've been that way for so long. Sometimes still I'm like, hey, if we, what if we did it like this? As in like we still need to handle the situations of life without our egos getting in the way. Like, don't tell me what to do. And she's not like that, but I think it happened like that for so long that it's just there, right? It just automatic reaction, habitual reaction. So I think the more that we each see, she and I each see, according to how humans work and that we're each doing the best that we can, I think those things just fizzle away. Like, I mean, does your wife really know that she didn't burn the eggs?
she knows now, or she didn't at the moment.
Yeah. So my
Like, so what you're saying is really cool because you're right. Every interaction, like, so the interaction before this was like, it wasn't so cool. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't at the point where I walked down and said, man, I'm really struggling to like communicate. Hey, this I would like for this to be differently or whatever because of that. Like for so long, but like every time I look at it, it's better than the time before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that I know there's nowhere to get, we're not trying to like she struggles with some things too, like that I never saw before because I was so like do it this way that you know when you're doing something somebody else's way, like you can blame it on the other person. Like that's your fault. That ain't my fault.
Yeah.
And so now she's using her own wisdom, and now I'm able to be like, oh, okay, I see the struggle right there because I struggle in this aspect, and that's kind of sort of how we integrated together to make this work.
Mm.
If it makes any sense.
Yeah.
So although yeah, I'm here on something, she's here, I'm here. We've really meshed it together in a really amazing way. And she's like even yesterday with the conversation, like we were laughing and joking in the car, and I told her, I said, I had a really hard time like speaking to you this morning about X, and she was like, it was way better than you've done before. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, I know I should do this and this and this, and so it's kind of cool.
That is cool. And that's why I think, I'm all about the meat grinder, right? I love the meat grinder. I love getting into situations where people are upset with each other or there's misunderstandings because that is where we grow, right? If we still see it as a problem, then that's where we need to pay attention so we can get some growth. Because later when the coffee cup does fall, we don't see it as a problem. It's not something that we would even struggle. Why would I struggle with that? So like I like the burgers like medium, nice and juicy, not all brown in the middle. And my wife knows that. That's just what I prefer. So now the burgers will come in. Sometimes they're like that, sometimes they're not. But I don't feel the need to say anything because she already knows how I like them. And now she'll say to me, like, hey, I don't know why the burgers are brown this time. Like, she'll bring it up, you know? So I wouldn't say anything unless, like, every time the eggs are burnt because this is probably just a one time thing, for the burgers or whatever.
So between you and me, ish, maybe, I don't know. It's not a one-time thing. Like it's not always that they're burnt. It's that in the mornings, she's so rushed to do so many things to get to work because I'm, you know what I'm like, so I'm bookending my day with work, right, with my company that I'm trying to start. So from 4:30 a.m. when I wake up till 7:55 now, because I do the live at 7:30. Like I'm doing something in regards to making money as in personal training or trying to get something right with the website or whatever it is. And then she goes to work at 8 and she wakes up, she works out for an hour and she's dealing with the babies from 7 to 8. So she's dealing with the babies, getting ready for work, trying to cook, trying to do, you know what I'm saying? So she's doing so many things that's why there's an issue. And I understand that where I didn't before. Before it would have been like, I don't give two rats asses about what you got going on. Like, I want my meal cooked right, right? And that's not how I feel now. Like I clearly now, like in this moment, realize, oh, I was in a low mood for some other reason. I don't remember what. And so me having food that wasn't cooked correctly meant more to me, right? Than a day where I would just be like, oh, it's because this has happened. Like it happened like 4 times this week. I think that's what it was.
Mm.
Um,
7 or 4 out of 5. Not that it really matters, but
yeah, not that it matters. Not that anybody's counting. Not that anybody's looking at that. But
you have a tally sheet. Here's my eggs. Why are they
eggs good, bacon good. Oh, I keep track. Oh, but
so?
like just seeing that, dude, it's like I didn't realize I was doing that.
Yeah,
Got this virtual tally mark track of kids are not clothed all the way, hair's not done. She didn't have her makeup done this day.
yeah. Damn, I used to live my life like that. And it's crazy to see because I think for some people it's like, well, I'm not just going to go around and let people do whatever they want, but I think when we have the glasses on of the negative filter, that's all we see, right? We have all this good around us, but we're not paying attention to that. We're paying attention to what is wrong, and there's not even a wrong,
Yeah,
you know? Burnt eggs, that's only because you don't like burnt eggs. That they're still okay to eat, you know?
man, maybe
Not
some.
these eggs.
I just so this is this is the new me, right? I said, all right, I'm just gonna fast today, so I did.
Yeah. So in the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, I don't remember the exact story there, but he's basically saying like the server at the restaurant brings you mashed potatoes when you clearly asked for french fries. So instead of being like, I didn't I didn't want burnt eggs and you brought me burnt eggs, right? Hey, I prefer I prefer french fries. Could I get these switched out? Or, you know, I think there's a way to say it where it's like, this isn't a problem, but hey, here's what my preference is.
Yeah, so essentially that's what I still don't know how to say it, but me saying it to her even in a better tone than I've ever because that's I don't know if you're having this challenge, but the challenge for me right now is I'm getting better at the communication, but it's still harsher than what she would like. So she's like, "Oh, you said that so harshly." And I'm like, 3 months ago, I would have yelled at you
Yeah.
about this. And now I'm like, hey, eggs, can you cook them? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. This is it though. I'm the one who dug this hole that deep in the first place, right? So if I'm expecting her to be okay, like, oh, you don't see all this work I've done like 3 months ago, I would have been like pissed. But right now, I'm pretty calm about it, right? We want to get credit for that, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing, right? Can I get credit for how well I did? Even like I could give myself credit. I did give myself credit, but I'm looking for credit from her, and that's the issue, right? Like that's when that the not issue, but that's when our thinking just takes off again. Like how dare her go?
Well, and I think too, it's for me, it's been helpful to dig into that a little bit, right? She didn't give me credit, but that's because there's an underlying thought that wasn't questioned that says she should give me credit.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you is, if she made eggs over hard, but you wanted to dip your toast in there, right? How would you tell her that?
So if she made my eggs over hard and I wanted them, normally it's not a big deal. Like that's what I'm saying. Like so, she burns the eggs. I'm like, oh, that's a good reason to go get something else to eat. But she burns the eggs 4 days in a row. And I'm just like, I'm just realizing that I need to be in the better, not a better state whenever I'm bringing it to her. But when it doesn't seem like such a problem, it's probably a better time to talk about it.
Yeah.
So just kind of sort of how I told her, hey, I don't know how to talk to you about this. That's the recognizing that there's that question that I haven't really. Why do I need credit? Why is it that? And then whenever I talk to her about that, and we're like having this like different kind of conversation, that's when I'm like, man, the Megs though.
Okay. So what I'm wondering is, if you didn't see it as a problem, would it be
Mhm.
hard to talk about?
So the fact that we're talking about it when I have a preference is after the thought already, because me having a preference is a thought.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is when I'm okay with the experience of life, just like we've been talking about, right? The experience of life is just happening. Burnt eggs, not burnt eggs. Change them, not change them. Say something, not change, say something. Either way, don't allow myself to close off love, close off energy, which I don't feel like I did in that situation, right? Like when I went in there and communicated it to her, I felt like I was trying to be as open as possible. So the issue at the time for me wasn't the eggs. Like I'm like looking at it, it wasn't the eggs. It's never the eggs. It's what I'm thinking, like you said, about what that means in the moment. Like she burnt these eggs for the fourth time. If I don't say something, she's gonna burn eggs forever.
Maybe, but
Maybe not.
I don't think it's a problem to say anything, right?
No.
Okay, so because I'm thinking about it like this: what if every day what's for breakfast is hard-boiled eggs, but you're kind of thinking like, you know what I would like to have for breakfast every day instead is over easy eggs, so I could dip my toast. Like to me, I think we could look at it on the same level, right? Hey, what we've been eating every day for breakfast is burnt eggs. What I would like to have, hey, can you
Mm,
start making these eggs a little runny or whatever?
mm. You're saying I think I get it now. You're saying come from the same space if you're just telling like, hey, this is my preference or whatever. Like and my preferences changed or not changed or whatever. But don't go in with a this is messed up and it needs to change. Go in with the this is what I would like. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like that. I feel like that
Yeah.
is, at least for me, the best way forward, right? And I think that naturally happens when we know it's not a problem that the eggs were burnt today, and it's like, hey, tomorrow I'd like to have oatmeal. It's like, can we have
Yeah.
oatmeal tomorrow?
Yeah. I see. Yeah, I get you, man. Because me putting the UPS driver not allowing me to open the door isn't a problem, but there is a preference to be able to open the door. So coming from, hey man, I would prefer this, but instead of, can't believe you keep sticking this door in front of this back box in front of the door. That's a problem, and I need you to fix that problem. Versus, I mean, if you, my preference is this. If you don't have a preference, which most people in that situation don't, man, I'm seeing it clearly, Jason, or more clearly.
Yeah, I am too.
You know, that's one of my favorite leads. Clearly,
Hmm. So
so that's
I
my
think that
show name.
the value in the coaching is when you see it as a problem that the UPS person, and we're picking on UPS, but we see it as this guy is such an idiot. How does he not know? How does he not see that if he puts the package in front of my door, there's no way I can get out? Now I push the package off, everything falls off the step, it's broken. But when we can see he's doing the best he can with the thinking he has, we have compassion. It's like hard to have a problem at that point. What are you laughing at?
So, A, I'm gonna use that lead joke all the time. But B,
It's not
um,
good, just so you know.
it's not good at all. But there's different ones.
As long as you
Like
like it, right? That's all that matters.
amazingly, like, oh yeah, you'll be like amazingly. I'm like, oh yes, one of my homeboys. Amazingly, whatever. Um
He's a karate guy.
so let's use a little better example, and it just came to me with the UPS thing. And we're picking on UPS because UPS is a great company and they do the best they can. Going out in the middle of nowhere, and somebody's house is like a quarter of a mile off the road, and I can leave your box at the gate, or I can venture down your little pathway and try to leave it at your house. So for me as a driver, I'm leaving it at your gate because I've driven down some people's driveway, got to the end of it, and there's no way for me to get out, right? So like I've seen both sides as a UPS driver. The side as a UPS driver is like, I don't know what to do to get down to your house, so I'm not going to do it. And the other side saying, well, that's my food for the next month, and you're leaving it out in 105-degree heat. So there's a problem there. And as a UPS driver, like, okay, well, then what do we do to come to some sort of solution? And it's like, me as a driver, as long as I see a problem with me taking the extra, because what ends up happening is UPS is like, you just walk it out.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, though, right?
Why didn't you
Like,
get
if you,
the route finished? Well, I had to walk a quarter mile 10 times.
bro, I've done it. Like, I've done that before. Like, I got to a point, like, you drive out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and people's houses are like, you're like, should I drive over there? But they'll have trees, so you can't tell if you could do anything. And I've had that. This is an instance that I've had, and they called in the UPS, and UPS was like, walk the package to their door. So I'm like, okay, cool. So the first time they say it, I'm upset about it. The next time I go out there, I'm like, well, I guess UPS is gonna pay me for 30 minutes for this one stop. So who cares? Because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the moment that there's nothing that I can do about it other than what my job says to do, I just do it with no problem, no issue.
Yeah. You got to accept it at that point, right? Oh, so the Holocaust survivor and psychologist Viktor Frankl, he
Mhm.
says, when we are no longer able to change the situation, we are forced to change ourselves.
That's powerful
It's
because
in,
I've
oh,
seen that
now,
happen.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I've just seen that happen.
Because like, what's the other choice at that point? We can't do anything else. So I guess I'm gonna stop enjoying life until I forget that I'm pissed off about this. Then I can start enjoying life again.
I lived life like that for years, man. For years, I would go a whole day about something that wasn't even an issue. Like it'd be like 10 o'clock, something would happen. It'd be 5 o'clock. I'm still in my head. This son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And so like everybody I've talked to the whole day looks like a son of a bitch
Mhm.
because of what happened at 10 o'clock this morning. Some lady comes and gives me some water. Sorry, stopping me to give me some water. I can't believe this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Water's not even cold. So there was this other thing. I forget where I heard it, but I think I took a spin on it. Like, would you stand on the street as people walk by and hand each one a $10 out of your own pocket, each one $10? So you don't even know these people, and obviously most everybody would not. Yet we go, somebody does something and we give them 20 minutes, an hour of our time being upset about it. So in time, I think most people would agree is more valuable than money, right? But we're not going to hand out our $10, but yet we give our peace of mind to every passerby.
I think the question naturally becomes how though, right? Like we can all agree that we do that. Like something's happened and I'm upset about it, and like my wife cooked the eggs wrong, and I've spent the next like it was 3 minutes that I'm thinking about it, maybe five, versus like man, like it probably been like 6 days. 6 days later, I'm still like, I can't believe you burned those eggs on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's so funny now though. Like it's hilarious. Like even the way I responded, the whole conversation's hilarious to me. Because like that's not how you get anything in life is you don't get nothing that way, man. Nothing.
So there's this other one. It was like, if you want honey, if you want honey, don't kick over the beehive.
Yeah. It makes sense. Oh my god.
When you think about
Yeah.
it, it's funny though that we would have done it the other way and thought that it would work. That it would. Oh, that's. I think this is a good idea. Let's go throw rocks at the beehive and then we'll get the honey out of it.
Man, I had the conversation with Courtney that like my anger has been rewarded though, if that makes any sense. So, and I don't mean my anger and I don't mean a reward, loosely, but me saying, can't believe you burned my eggs. She like automatically, let me go make you some more eggs. That's not what happened this time. But that may have happened in the past, right? And she's back on it, cooking the eggs, and now I'm happy. Well, I'm not happy. I'm actually eating the now cooked eggs, still complaining about the fact that she burned the other eggs.
Now I want eggs.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
But that is a really excellent point and something I have not explored yet.
About the
It's
wanting to eat the. You say what?
it's effective, right? Sometimes yelling at somebody and giving them the silent treatment, like it's effective, but I guess what is that doing with the love bank? Is it
Yeah.
withdrawals?
Oh yeah. So I've spent some time thinking about that, right? Like it's effective for me to do this, but it's not effective for me, my subconscious, my psyche, my whatever, because I am now depleted because I've spent my energy upset about something that doesn't matter. That's what I've noticed. Is like my energy is now depleted. I'm not where I need to be. It does get a response out of her, but at what cost? Like before, I didn't care at what cost. Now I'm seeing that the cost is she's in her head for hours because I yelled at her, and she's not really listening to anything else I'm saying for the rest of the day when I yell.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, fucking eggs not cooked. 5 hours later, she's still kind of like, not, she's just kind of like looking at me like, can't believe you yelled at me. I don't even know if you love me anymore.
These are all possibilities in people's relationships. So, okay, well, so I heard this in Stoicism, right? It's like grieve with somebody without internalizing the grief, right? You can act angry to get something accomplished. And I'm not really even, nothing's coming to mind about a scenario where that would make sense. But, maybe with a subordinate, or like you're a teacher and there's a student messing up, and the student is heckling you or whatever, you need to act angry without internalizing the anger, in order to be effective. What do you think of that? Can you think of any scenarios?
Well, yes, kids generally. And I don't know that upset is necessarily like, I get it, we're using that word as kind of sort of just something to use. Um, but yeah, there's definitely scenarios where anger or not anger, like anger is useful, right? Like it could actually serve me to be angry in a certain situation. It doesn't necessarily serve me to yell at that person. It doesn't necessarily serve me to get like irate with that person. But on the converse, on the flip side, sometimes like if my kids run out in the street, I gotta be a little bit. I could be like, oh, Danny, don't run in the street. Like, is it a problem that he's running in the street? Not if you care if your kids alive or not.
Well, I see it a little differently, right? It's not a problem in the sense that he shouldn't be doing it right now, because he is doing it right now. But it's probably not best for his health to be running in the street. So that's a preference. I'd rather him not be running in the street, right? So now I show him some videos on YouTube of kids getting hit by cars, so that way he doesn't want to. No, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying,
I
like,
was like, UPS does that. It
really?
shows you like car. Oh God, yeah, it'll be a PCM, and they're trying to get you motivated not to get in a crash for the day. And they're like, "Well, here's the accident, bang!" And you're like, the rest of the day, you're like,
What did I sign
"A
up for?
little kid. Oh my God." And you're just traumatized, bro. Like, but you're out on the road trying to drive, and in my head, oh my God, don't hit a little kid. And for me, I think that's sometimes, that's different. But yeah, what you're saying is true. That there are certain things that I have preferences on, and I used to think that I don't need to have any preferences, right? Like getting the 3P conversations. Oh yeah, like everything is like I do not want my kid hitting my I don't want my son hitting my daughter or vice versa. Don't want them. I don't want them biting each other. Like, is it a problem? No, they'll probably learn not to bite each other or hit each other because I mean, me saying it is clearly not doing anything. I don't want them running out the street. Don't want them, all those like I don't want you to die on my watch kind of deals. But the only reason why any of them are a problem is because I feel like what kind of person I'm gonna be if other people see them doing it or if they do it to other people or whatever it is.
Yeah, I just don't. Well, my daughter's 12, so it's a little different, right? I tell her, like, you do something to a kid in school, you push another kid, or you talk crap behind this kid's back, you might get hammered in the face. So I don't know. With her, it's almost like I used to try to protect her from toxic family members. But now, if I'm in a situation and a family member who's a lot of people might consider toxic is there and going off about something and freaking out, like I want her to see that, because that is the world. She needs to experience it, because what? I'm going to just protect her and put bumpers around her whole life. And then she's 20 years old on her own and she's like, people are crazy. Like, how did I help her?
Yeah, oh yeah. I think there's definitely an age where you go like for like a kid, for instance, they listen to you when you're young to stay out of the street because you're yelling at them and they're scared of loud noises. And it becomes
Yeah.
an age where they stop going and like they don't care what you're saying. They go in the street, but they see a car and they realize, oh, it might not be beneficial for me to get hit by the car. So then they stop going in the street. You don't have to yell at them, right? I believe that there is like because I have a 14-year-old daughter that, me and you talked about, and I don't really tell her what to do anymore because, like, well, I mean, I really never did, but it's not anything to tell her to do because she needs to experience it for herself. All I could do is be like, there are consequences, repercussions for whatever action that you do. Like, you're gonna be okay as long as you listen to that part of you that says,
Yeah.
whatever it needs to say. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
something that's developing.
It's such a weird space. Weird as in not normal or not something I'm used to be in this space where there are no problems. So if somebody screams at somebody else and I'm there, I'm not going to jump up to try to like, okay, guys, settle down, right? I'm not going to do that because, like, I mean, if it gets to a physical level, I probably would jump in, even though it's not a problem. But I can just sit there and enjoy the movie, right? I could just be a participant without thinking I need to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So, like, I want my daughter to have the meat grinder because if she sees this as a problem, that's where she gets to grow, you know?
So then where do you step in as a parent? I mean, I understand where you may step in, but because my experience with my 14-year-old daughter is completely different than my twins right now, right? A 14-year-old daughter lives somewhere else with her mom. She comes and sees me. So that's completely different. So where do you step in? Like, I want you to experience things in life. I want you to go out and do whatever it is you want to do, but I don't want you to be dumb about these things.
Yeah.
That's something that you've already at 12, not developed, but kind of sort of formed into a.
Something I'm playing with more and more all the time because I was wondering, like, what is the role of punishment? If everyone's doing the best they can with the thinking they have that looks real to them, then why would I punish her for making a mistake, or staying up too late, right? So I need to figure out a different way to get across to her that, if you want energy the next day, maybe it doesn't make sense to stay up till 11:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning for a sleepover or to eat a bag of M&Ms or whatever the situation is. I don't know, man. That's something that I want to keep exploring.
This one, like, it's with time, kids naturally do what they know to do. Like, if they have their own wisdom, they do what they naturally know to do, right? Like, I get that. Like with my daughter the other day, she put herself to sleep when she was angry for a long time. It was a long time before she did that. Um, when do we listen to their wisdom? Yeah, I mean, I know you're saying your experience, you're playing with it, and you're toying with it right now, but that is like, and it's different at my age than your age because right now their wisdom is a lot. I don't want to say a lot further away, but they don't have that conscious, unconscious, so they're not putting it together in the same way. But yeah, so if your daughter's eating a bag of M&Ms every night before bed and she doesn't see it for herself, hey, like, I'm getting fat or I'm being unhealthy or I'm not having the energy that I need or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. When hmm, my wisdom just said, whenever your wisdom says step in.
Yeah, I know that's a tough one because I mean, hell, then we'll just tell everybody that anytime they come to us for any type of chats, like having this problem at work. Well, you'll know when you know. Send me
I'd slap somebody saying that. Shut up.
the. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. Parenting for sure.
A lot more things look real around parenting for me.
So many things are looking less and less real, which on the flip side of that is a little bit like, should I be caring more here? Should I be so that what I heard was that the etymology of the word parent is to bring forth, right? We're bringing forth other humans into the world. So man, I don't know. Maybe them seeing us interacting with people at a store when someone's freaking out and we're just remaining calm, or the cashier gave us too much money and we gave it back when we could have just kept it, right? Maybe that's all the parenting that's needed.
It's a little scary. Like I believe that. Like when I like really search myself, I I see that. I see that like they don't, not that they don't listen to what you're saying, but like they are definitely watching everything that you do. Everything. The daughter does things that I didn't think she, like it's weird some of the things she does. I'm like, maybe that's natural. I gotta work on this lighting, bro. It's trash. Or but yeah, anyway,
It's fun to notice.
definitely fun to notice. Definitely fun to notice. Yeah.
What you're saying though is totally right, because when I grew up, man, my mom gave us a lot of good advice, but she didn't act on her own advice. And that is what we picked up on, right? Then we go bulldoze, bull in a china shop, just kind of like running people over and like, nobody's going to do this to me type of attitude, right? I mean, in a way, even like we would, I always say this, but it's probably not a true story, but like Sunday you go to Catholic Mass and then you leave and you're all holy, but as you pull out of the parking lot, you give somebody the finger because they didn't stop and let you go in front of them. Like it just didn't really make sense. So yeah, man, I think that's it is just living the best way that we know how. You got to nudge them along a little bit, right? Just like that's the value of coaching. Maybe it's just like coaching. Hey, this girl at school is this and that. Okay, what do you think of that? Just
Mm,
exploring it with them.
that's interesting. That would just mean that all I need to do right now is be with my kids and the be with my kids in the best way that I know how. In every moment. Live open, not closed. I look so dark right now, man. Darkness.
I know I already brightened my brightness. I don't know about you, but I lived in Kentucky for a while, so people would come up and be like, they would just come up and ask, like, "Hey, what church do you go to? Have you found Jesus yet?" So I know a lot of people have trouble with that because it's like, "Don't tell me what to do," right? So like, how do you deal with the "don't tell me what to do" stuff? Does that an issue for you, or you just kind of roll with when people suggest stuff to you, like? Because in a way, it's like, are they saying it because they think I need to change?
Man, this reminds me of this guy that stopped me one time. He was like, man, you're gonna do a lot of amazing things. I could just tell from your smile and your energy. And I was like, okay. Like I didn't believe him. Just like, so why would I believe most of the other stuff? Like I swear, Jason, I used to have that problem. Like the problem was like somebody be like, you should jump off a bridge, and I'd be like, I ain't jumping off no bridge. Or they could be like, you want to go have sushi? I'd be like, I don't even eat sushi. I actually love
Yeah, problem.
sushi.
Everything anybody says you have a problem with. Do you need to buy any stamps or anything? I don't need no stamps. I would have asked you.
I would ask you for some stamps. Does it look like I need some stamps, bro?
Get a pen.
Oh, this reminds me of UPS stories, dude. There was one time I went into this one lady's office and she has this 150-pound package and she's on the phone and I'm like, "What do you want this?" And she's like, and I just put it down. And she goes to looking at it. She's like, well, this needs to go over there. No, ma'am. I walked out.
You worked there or you went there?
I worked at UPS for 15 years.
And are you
I
talking
was
about that story was you as an employee there?
Yeah, I walked into it was like a hotel or something like that. And A, I'm not gonna sit here and hold a 150-pound package. But B, UPS has a policy of we leave it in one place every day. Like we don't. Like if we moved your package where you wanted us to move it every day, there's people out there that are like, oh yeah, like can you move that just right over here? Oh no, actually, can you move it over here? And then the UPS driver is in there for 3, 4 minutes or even 30 seconds. And it doesn't seem like a long time. But when you have 200 stops in a day, plus other like driving and other things like that. Anyway, who gives a about UPS? But yeah.
I don't know about my UPS guy because they just put it wherever. Sometimes, okay, so we got the butcher box, right? Like we get packages. They put them
Yeah.
right in front of the damn storm door. So I'm like, how are we supposed to get out to even get this?
Yeah.
Which is
On the side where the door is, on the knob or the opposite side?
just, yeah, all of it.
Random.
Anywhere in there where if you're going out to get it, you have to push the package to even get out the door. So that's another good, that would be a potential story for my site, but I almost want to. I mean, you get a different person all the time because all of these different delivery people now. But you almost want to be like, "Hey, if you think of it next time, could you not leave this in front of my door so that I could get it?"
If you told me that as a UPS driver, I'm putting it closer to the door
Oh my
to make sure you can't get out.
god! Yeah, stacking it all up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, you gonna say something about it, huh? So I was lucky enough that I had whenever I rode with somebody one year, the guy was like, "You always want to make it easy for him to open the door." It's like that makes a lot of sense because I've seen it where people are just like, who cares? Boom, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you put that in a UPS driver's consciousness, okay, and I'm almost sure there's no way you could tell a UPS driver to do anything without them getting like a little irate, just because of the pace that
Hmm.
we're asked to keep. If that makes any sense.
I could see that.
So, like, for instance, 9:30 to 10:30 is like mad hour. So we have so many packages to get off, and so we have to drive all around the route and all that other stuff. But like people will be like, "Hey, do you have any other packages for me?" I'll be like, "No, sir, not right now." And they'll be like, "I need my package right now. You're here. Why can't I get it?" And I'm thinking, bro, I gotta go. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you come back later, and that same guy's like, "Well, welcome back." And then you'll leave this guy that you're keeping cool. You're like, yes, sir, here's your package. And you walk to the next person, and the next person's like, every day you leave my package right here in front of the door. And you're like, you don't shut
Mm.
up. So like everybody has that little bit that they want, but like leave a note on the door and say, this is probably what you should do. Leave a note on the door that says, hey, would you mind putting this to the side that the screen door doesn't open up on?
I'm gonna leave out.
Something.
I'm gonna leave out some ice cubes.
Oh, leave a water and a Gatorade, like
Really?
one of those little. Yeah, like so. Essentially, what you're doing is you're saying, "Hey, if you don't mind, because it's not extra work after the first time. But if you're telling, like the first time you tell me to do it, like this is my problem. I don't know about every other UPS driver. The first time you told me to do it, I'm like, this son of a bitch don't even respect that I got it this far. Because
Mm.
people like, well, I've seen people look out the curtain, see that it's a UPS truck, close the curtain. It's a signature required that they've been waiting for a week. You knock on the door. Who is it?
Oh,
UPS. Who is it? Who is UPS? What do you mean? Who is UPS? The brown truck doesn't tell you everything. The
oh my gosh. Damn.
people,
You should write a little. You should write up something on that. The adventures of the UPS driver, delivery man.
bro, UPS drivers are hilarious. I've got this. I'm in one of these dyad communities, so a community with a bunch of UPS drivers, and they'll post a picture of their truck that's packages everywhere. And they were like, "So what would you tell your loader if this is what happened?" And people were like, some people were like, "Man, that's mad money." Other people's like, "I just leave the truck there and walk out." No, not quit. Just walk out. And then the UPS, like a super, essentially at UPS, you can get fired because it's a union. But unless you do something super egregious, they can't. Like they're not gonna leave you gone. So what'll happen is I know a guy that went out blind, which means he didn't know the route at all. And they gave him a crap ton of packages. And he's one of those guys that runs and gets it done. Well, that day I saw him, he came in at 11 and a half hours. And a whole truck was full, bro. Whole truck. He said, I delivered 4 packages today. They said, why did you do that? It's like, I didn't know where I was going. He
Seriously,
knew exactly where it was going.
he was just mad.
Like because they know that you get paid so well, UPS drivers are like, hey, this is slave labor. They're like, no, slave labor you didn't get paid for.
Mm,
And
damn.
they pay you so well that it's kind of sort of like for what you do. So a lot of people didn't finish high school or got a high school degree and they've been roofing all their life, been mowing lawns all their life. So they go from making like $15 an hour being out on the sun all day to making double that, right? They like, I'm out here. Let's go. So, but yeah,
So, what about that Amazon thing? Did you ever check into that where you can like have your own trucks and you can run your own crew of like I forget the numbers on it, like 75. You could be up to 75 trucks, and you have to pay like $10,000 to get started. It's kind of like a franchise type thing. You lease all the trucks.
that's how FedEx is.
Really? So
Mm.
Amazon has their own. I think they're still doing it, but I wonder what you think of that. Because I don't know. I mean, what kind of mentality are you dealing with as a manager of drivers? Because the people I show up, I mean, the people I see showing up at my house, they don't really seem professional in the traditional sense.
So there's a difference, in my opinion, between UPS drivers and most other companies. So I'm talking a bunch of crap about like how we do things at UPS and da 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 da. But bar none, I believe that our professional standard is higher than the rest of them. And I'm saying that in the like because at FedEx it is like essentially, hey, buy a guy buys routes and then he puts somebody on those routes and he's trying to pay them the least amount possible to get them to go do it. And I saw guys that they got sneakers on, they got whatever on, and they're just delivering packages. At UPS, like you go to school to drive, like there's standards and procedures, like there's like methods for how you're supposed to do everything. And how I said like you can get fired, but you come back, it's because they have so many standards and procedures that like you could step out of one of them so many times. Like for instance, like something that was a big deal for UPS was folding in your mirror so that your left mirror doesn't get clipped whenever somebody was driving by. Well, here's the debate. Is it safer for me to stick my arm out of the left mirror and get clipped? Or is it safer for your mirror to get clipped? UPS doesn't care. So they like literally let people go for not pulling in that mirror or not honking the horn at every stop or getting out on the wrong side of the truck or walking around the truck the wrong way. So there's all these things that UPS has methods and standards. But at the end of the day, like we're all human. They're just trying to get home. And after eight
Yeah,
hours
no,
of
I mean, I would think that they would have the like the school bus. The school bus stop sign automatically closes. With the mirror, just like on a vehicle now, you can have the power mirror that automatically shuts in.
bro, we don't even have they didn't even have AC at UPS. Still don't have AC at UPS. That's why they got the windows up, the doors open.
And that's why they have the white roof.
Yeah. So the white roof is to lessen the impact of the sun.
Yeah. Well, so about the Amazon people, like they're pulling up in their own vehicles. They got a road crossing guard vest on. The little kid is running out of the vehicle, dropping off my package. I'm thinking like, there is no standard.
None of that is social justice. Or is it?
Isn't everything social justice, right? Maybe.
Technically, yes.
Well, I'm glad we got all the social justice stuff figured out.
Do we even talk about social justice?
I thought it was going to be harder than that.
I did too.